warm welcome for Secretary DeVos.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to get here a little bit earlier. I would have enjoyed getting a little flavor for your program, but thank you so much for your introduction, Todd, and for inviting me to be here with you today. I want to begin by expressing my appreciation for all that you all do. I'm going to share some thoughts about how I hope to support your important work, but first I felt a need to just comment on something that you may have seen on TV this past weekend. Last Friday, a handful of protesters tried to block my entrance into Jefferson Middle School here in D.C. While I eventually made it in, and I had a very constructive conversation with Chancellor Wilson, many D.C. administrative leaders, some terrific teachers, and Principal Doman, the protesters' behavior, I think, is a reflection on the way some seek to treat our education system today, by keeping kids in and new thinking out. Friday's incident demonstrates just how hostile some people are to change and to new ideas. Without realizing it, we too can fall victim to this trap of seeing our work in education as an us versus them approach. I know this to be true throughout the reform community, where there are those who claim to be champions of education, but they really only support their respective sectors. These silos, I think, are unnecessary and unproductive in our common goal to serve all students. So I applaud your work to expand and improve options for all children through magnet schools. The education of a child is not a zero-sum game. When a student excels academically, we don't place an asterisk next to his or her name based on the type of school he or she attends. I want to encourage you today to look beyond the walls of your schools, beyond the invisible lines of your communities, and let's renew our commitment to doing what's best for each and every child. So I have a couple of quick questions for you. By a show of hands, who here got involved in education to make money? And I wouldn't judge if you did raise your hand. No, I'm not seeing any hands raised there. Who here got involved because you don't trust teachers? No hands, huh? Okay, one last one. Who here today got involved in education because you care deeply about students and their futures and their needs? Pretty universal hand waving there. Our care for students and their futures is what brings us together. This is the common element that makes our mission so noble. Our collective goal is to provide all students with an equal opportunity for a high-quality education. I don't need to recite the history of magnet schools and the vital role they've played to improve the lives of urban students, combat segregation, and provide a quality option to parents and kids alike. Indeed, magnet schools are often referred to as the original school choice option. I've seen the evidence firsthand. In my hometown of Grand Rapids, Michigan, City High, City Middle School is nationally recognized and is ranked as the third best school in the state. 45% of its students are minority students, and 98% of the students are enrolled in IB programs. In conversations with some of the parents and students who are part of that school, it's clear to me how much they appreciate and value the opportunity that school provides them and their children. After 40 years since the inception of magnet schools, I think it's important to celebrate their important role, but also to remind ourselves there's still so much more work to be done. And that's why I'm honored to join you here today. Your presence and your conference demonstrates your commitment to creating quality options, to embracing innovation, and to seeking new ways to better serve some of our most underserved students. Let's also celebrate the fact that there are more than 2.6 million students benefiting from attending 3,285 magnet schools. These schools are offering parents tremendous options, and they offer students an important opportunity they wouldn't have had elsewhere. I applaud your commitment to developing and communicating best practices to ensure all magnet schools strive to be models of excellence. I'm proud to highlight the department's Magnet Schools Assistance Program and note that the Every Student Succeeds Act offers new flexibilities that will hopefully lead to greater program success. First, ESSA extends the grant term from 3 years up to 5 years and increases the maximum cumulative grant award from $12 million to $15 million. Grantees will now have more time and funding to implement their themes, diversify their schools, and improve academic outcomes. Second, ESSA allows grant funds to be spent on transportation for students, thereby improving access to thriving magnet schools for all students, and particularly those who need it most. And third, ESSA allows your schools to measure diversity by both socioeconomic background as well as racial background. But the reality is, what makes your schools transformative places of learning isn't a federal grant, it's not the brick and mortar, it's you, the human connection. You and your educators are the difference makers and the life changers. The relationships you forge with your students give them a platform from which to launch. As the Secretary of Education, I'm committed to supporting your success, to celebrating your commitment to quality, and to working with you to ensure that magnet schools continue to play a vital role in bettering student achievement. Please know I'm the type of person who listens more than she speaks, so know that my door is open to you, to hear your concerns, and to help you build on your achievements. Thank you again for everything you do for America's children. I appreciate you, and I know the parents and students you serve do as well. I wish you a very successful conference and visit to our national capital, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary DeVos. I have some questions for you. We appreciate your being. First of all, let me say how much we appreciate your being here. And
I'm grateful to be here.
I mean, she's been on the job for 1 week. Not bad, huh? Okay. So, you know, I think we're very pleased that you mentioned that magnet schools are the first and oldest option for school choice, and we take a lot of pride in that. So now, how do you convert that? How do you, can you promote magnet schools as a part of the menu of options that are available to families? How do we, given our long track record of success in providing quality education to students of all types?
Thanks. Well, and Sarah and I were just talking about that on our way up here. The fact that I don't think you may not be tooting your horns well enough, and I think that there's ample opportunity to really highlight the tremendous successes of so many magnet schools across the country. That's a great opportunity to seize, and especially as we have more and greater conversation about meeting the needs of all kids and giving all kids an equal opportunity for a high-quality, great education. As I've said before, I'm really agnostic as to the delivery mechanism, as long as we are focused on what a child needs and what is best for each individual child. Well, it's clear that the schools that you represent are doing a tremendous job on behalf of students, and so I look forward to working with you to help highlight the successes that you are experiencing, and to make it, I think, more personal to more people in a way that will help tell the story in maybe a way that hasn't been told before.
Thank you. Thank you. So another question for you. Diversity, as you well know, is a cornerstone. We call it a pillar of being a magnet school. So how do you view promoting diversity as a strategy for improving student achievement? Where does that play into the equation?
Well, I think experiencing and being a part of a diverse environment is really critical to the development of any young person, any child, any student. I think that when you get to know and befriend people who are different than yourself, it is only enriching and enhancing for you. And so I think to the extent that you can continue to build on that really key focus that magnet schools have had in your history, that's going to be, I think, a really strong building block from which to continue to grow the influence and the support for and attendance of magnet schools. Again, I think you cannot overstate the importance of exposing a young person to a broad range of experiences, a broad range of types of individuals, backgrounds, and also experiences within. Again, I'll reference a brief conversation on the way up with Sarah about the fact that so many. It's hard when students have not had similar experiences just geographically. You want to make sure that all kids' horizons are continued to be expanded based on the experiences they have. And it sounds like many schools that you represent really focus very significantly on giving students a broad view of the world by having a diverse population right within the school walls. And that's tremendous. It can't be celebrated enough.
Well, and I thank you for that, and I think that's right. It's everybody's hope that if we provide that environment when they're young, that when they become mature adults, being in a diverse environment is just something they've gotten used to and accept globally. In a number of instances at the state and local level, magnet schools seem to receive less funding than other schools, such as charters. Can you support the current magnet school funding contained in ESSA, and as a part of that, would you help us increase that funding?
That's a very good question, and
it's a pointed
I'm
question.
awaiting.
I know.
I'm
okay.
I'm awaiting the budget, and we. Well, let me just say that I think all great schools should be highlighted and should be supported. That said, I don't think we should be as focused necessarily on funding school buildings as much as we should be having conversation around funding students. And if students are funded at the appropriate levels and equally, and they're making choices to go to schools like magnet schools, you all are doing a tremendous job. You will have, again, the focus around funding students is, I think, the conversation that we need to be having more broadly. But that said, I know we have budgets coming in, the budget coming in very soon here, and we will certainly be looking to support the efforts of magnet schools along with other great performing schools that have been supported to date.
Well, thank you for that. And speaking of budgets, as we talked about before you came in, the fact that the House Appropriations Subcommittee seems to be every year it seems to eliminate magnet funding, and then we have to really work hard to restore magnet funding. Mm-hmm. So we'd love to know, is that something that you can lend your voice to on the Hill and support of magnet funding and at least keeping that program alive for us?
Yes, we will certainly be looking at that. And again, I think that the important thing is to highlight the successes that you have and support them. If we're going to be supporting successes, we need to be supporting them commensurately.
Great. And since I'm holding the mic, I got a follow-up question. We'd like to be working with you on that. We'd love to, as you're formulating your agenda moving forward, I think everybody in this room would say we welcome your openness to our message, and we want to reciprocate that way. So as you're charting your path forward, please consider this an invitation. This is not a question, really, is it? Consider this an invitation from us to be able to work with you on jointly towards that.
I would welcome that.
Great. And then, so lastly, we regard it as part of our mission today to enrich your understandings of magnet schools. And we'd like to invite you to visit some magnet schools and hope that you would take us up on that. So here's the question. Yeah, could that be a yes?
Absolutely. I look forward to that.
Yes. Great. Terrific. Well, again, Secretary DeVos, we very much appreciate your being here with us today, and thank you for taking the time out, and certainly very busy beginning of the job.
Well, thank you, Todd, and thank you all for the great work that you do on behalf of kids. Thanks.
Great. Thank you.